Hello! Today we are talking about what to do when you drop a decrease, which is a terrifying prospect. First, let me give you a little overview of the piece that I've got here. I have been working a line of yarn overs at the beginning and end of my swatch, and in the middle I have here SSKs, and here I have knit two togethers. How do I know which one is which? An SSK is a left-leaning decrease, which means the line it creates will start in the bottom right and go up to the top left. A knit two together is a right-leaning decrease, meaning that it will start in the bottom left and go up to the top right. So what I have here is an SSK in this area and a knit two together here. Fair enough? Okay. Since the SSK is what's right here, let's say I'm watching a suspenseful show and I jerk, and this happens. Oh no! What do I do? How do I get it back? Well, the simplest way to get it back would be to stop everything, recover your stitches however you can. It doesn't mean that they have to be correct, it just means they have to be recovered. Notice that my yarn is the third stitch from the end of my right hand needle. These two stitches have not yet been worked, so I need to put them back on the left needle. And it doesn't matter what kind of stitch it is, if it's a knit or a purl, always you want the right leg closest to you. And by that I mean if you take a stitch and you lay it flat, it looks like a horseshoe. Let me make that one a little bigger so we can see. Looks like a little tiny horseshoe. This is the right leg of the horseshoe. This is the left leg of the horseshoe. We want the right leg closest to us, and unworked stitches go to the left. So now let's look at this next one. It is right leg forward now and on my left needle. Now that I have recovered those stitches, I can look at my knitting and say, okay, this was my line of decreases and I'm ready to go on with my SSK, work my SSK, and go on. If you don't want to reknit them and you have that whole tragic oops, you can also use a crochet hook. To do this with a crochet hook, you want to make sure that each stitch is flat before you start. You're going to go into the rightmost stitch of the two first, then into the leftmost stitch of the two. Pick up your working yarn, pull it through both, and then place the resulting loop onto the right hand needle, right leg forward. I have reworked my SSK and it's on my right hand needle, and my yarn has come all the way through it, so I know that that was done correctly and I don't have any loops left, so yay, my stitch is back. That's the SSK. Let's look at knit two together. Here I am, I'm ready to do my knit two together. I do it, the bomb explodes, I drop everything. What do? Again, the simplest thing to do is to run any needle, doesn't matter what needle you've got, through both, and then look at the situation. My yarn is attached to the third stitch from the end of my right needle, which means these two stitches go to the left, and I want to put them back right leg forward, and now I'm ready to knit two together and go on. If you don't want to do it that way, here again we'll, explode the building, pop, everything goes. We want to pick up the knit two together with a crochet hook. You want to go into the leftmost stitch first, then into the rightmost stitch. Make sure they were flat before you do that. You want to wrap the yarn around the crochet hook, pull that loop through, and put it right leg forward onto your right needle. And there you have picked up and corrected a knit two together or an SSK. What if you were doing the purl back row? 2 shakes of a lambsdale, and I'll be at the purl back row. All right, there are no fancy things that happen on my purl back row. I just purl. So I'm going to unsplit that stitch. That would be great. I'm going to purl to the first decrease. This poor building, we're just going to explode it over and over and over again. Or the dog. Let's just say the dog jumped up in our laps. It's been the 4th of July recently. They might startle us and jump up into our laps. Or the kids climb up into your lap or whatever. And you're purling back and something startles you and you jump and this happens. What do? First of all, I'd turn it to the knit side because I want to know what the correct side looks like, what the right side looks like. I don't really care what it looks like on the wrong side. I want to know that I've got it correct from the public side. This stitch has come undone a little bit more even than before. Not only did we lose the knit 2 together, but this one lost its purl back row. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up this purl back row. Now both of these stitches are on the same row. I am going to pick up my knit 2 together by going into the left stitch first and then the right stitch. She says with complete confidence as she pulls her crochet hook back out. There we are. This thread is the one that actually knit them together. So I'm going to pull that back through both stitches. Make certain that the resulting stitch is not twisted at the base, and by that I mean when you look at this stitch, you want the bottom of this stitch to be straight. If it's twisted, it looks like this. Or it looks like this. See that twist in there? That is what we do not want. We want the left leg to the left and the right leg to the right. And we can put that resulting stitch, right leg forward, back onto what looks like our right needle at the moment. The yarn is over on the other needle. Now remember, we were purling, so we have to turn it back around. So important so you don't go back the wrong way. And you can just carry on. And I would do the same thing with my SSK. Working along, minding my business, Fido jumps up, and there goes everything. Look, it even did the same thing and undid more than one. All right. First things first, we're going to assess the damage. The damage here is that this stitch has come undone more than one row, and then we also lost our SSK. So we're going to pull this stitch up one row. So now this stitch and this stitch are operating in the same row, like that. Now I have to pick up my SSK. SSK is right stitch first and then the left stitch. I'm going to take the running thread here, the ladder, and I'm going to pull it back through both of those. And then I'm going to put it right leg forward onto my right needle. The stitch that I just picked up is not twisted. And I'm going to turn it back over to the purl side so I can continue purling. When your repair is all complete, let me zoom back out. When you have fixed all of the mistakes, you want to take a look at it again and make sure that everything looks correct before you carry on. So let's look at the right side again. All right, there we have our SSKs, which are left-leaning decreases coming up from the bottom right to the top left. And here we have our knit 2 togethers coming from the bottom left to the top right. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful to you.